So for the one colour pendibule, you want a square of fabric, any size from 4.5 inches up. This one I'm doing is 5 inches square. These are easy to make, if a little fiddly. So the first thing you need to do is you're going to fold it in half diagonally, so that you are ending up with a triangle. So to make it easier, I do the two sides separately. So I'm starting from the middle and I'm going towards the fold. Just hold that down in place. And I'm using a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And then I'm going to turn it over, and again going from the centre towards the folded corner. This time I'm not going all the way along. You need to leave a space to turn it out. So a little way along, I'm going to do some reverse stitches so that it just keeps its strength as you're turning it. Move it forward a bit, bring the needle down, a couple of reverse stitches, and then stitch to the corner. Take that off. Just clip those threads in the middle so that they don't get in the way. And what I also do is, on the point there, I just cut straight across there. Don't cut through your intersection of stitching, but that just gives you a cleaner point when you turn it round. So now where we have our hole, you want to turn the fabric right way out. So obviously, depending on what size you've left your hole, just make it easier. I use my little screwdriver for changing my feet, for pushing out the corners. So turn it right way out. Just want to ease those corners out. Drop it on the floor. And there we go. Now the rest of that I'll probably ease out with the needle when I come to do the next section. The most important point to get out nicely is the one that's going to be at the bottom. Alright then, so what you get at then is a triangle and you've got a hole in the side. So the next stage is to fill it with lavender. Alright, sometimes to make this easier I'll use a funnel to do it, or else I make one out of paper. This hole isn't too bad, so I just stuff it with lavender. To make it easier to stuff the sachets with lavender, you can use a funnel. If you haven't got one, get yourself a scrap of paper, hold it at the corner, and you want to twist it so that it forms a cone. You don't want the end too tight because you want the lavender to flow through. Just hold the end so it doesn't unravel. There we go. Poke it inside the sachet, and then you can just put your lavender in the top. And it just give it a shake, and it will fill your sachet. Right then. So when you're stuffing it with lavender, you want it to be quite full, but because you're going to be shaping it, you don't want it fully stuffed. So I'm leaving it like that. So then what you do, first of all I'll clear up my mess, and then you're going to hand stitch that opening closed. A sharp needle yesterday. You want some thread, you want your matching thread. Right, so just going to put a knot in the end to secure it, and with small stitches I'm just going to stitch that closed. So what I'm just doing is slide my needle underneath the fold for a few threads on one side, bring it across to the other side and sliding this along a few stitches. Just means it will just pull the two sides together and you're left with an almost invisible stitch. I'm going to go like that all the way along. until that opening's closed. And get to the end, I'm just going to do a little knot to fasten it off, pull it tight. I'm just going to run the thread underneath. Just pull it a bit, cut close to the fabric, and that will disappear back inside. So now you've got a triangle filled with lavender. So what you want to do is just empty the two corners along the fold. I'm just going to use my needle just to finish easing those corners out. Just come the other side, just do the same with this one. There we go. And then you're going to fold that across and you're going to stitch those two ends together. So what it's easier to do it if you have a double thread. I've got enough left on the needle to do that, so I'm just going to put a knot in the end. So to hide the knot, I'm just going to, you're going to be folding over that way. So what will be underneath, centre the seam a bit, I'm just going to, from underneath, push my needle up, and that means that when I put the two sides together, that knot's going to be hidden in the middle. So now I'm just going to watch your fingers as you do this, and I'm going to push that needle down in between, so it's going through both layers. Pull that tight. Then from underneath, just hold that there, and I'm going to push that back up again, and you're going to do that, got it doubled up probably 3 or 4 times, just until you feel happy that it's secure. So it's a bit like sewing a button on without the button. There we go, I'm just going to do one more. And you take your needle to the end of the side, I'm just going to take up a bit of fabric through where the stitches are. Make sure you go through. There you go, and just knot it off. I'm just going to do that twice. And then you're just going to trim off the end. Let's get rid of that. There we go. And you end up with your little pendibule. So to finish it off, we need ribbon. So choose your ribbon to match your colours that you've used. I've used a narrow one there for that because it's smaller. Just check your ribbon and see whether it's going to be too big for that one or not. Personal choice, but I think I'm still going to go with the narrow one. And I cut off a length about 75 centimetres. This is where it gets fiddly. I've got to try and remember how I got the loop. I did it a trial run to see if I could remember. So I'm going to form my loop like that, just hold it on. I'm going to bring the two ends through. I'm going to go bring one of those strands either side of that loop. Now if you've got somebody with you, it may make it easier. I just tend to hold that loop so it's flat, bring that across, and you want to tie a knot. And this is definitely when a third hand would be useful. Just ease it, there you go. And you just want to make sure that where that loop comes over, it's just covering that join. There we go. Just going. So if you want to, once you've done your knot, you can take the threads over the back to wrap that again. This time you can lay it down. I'm going to do another knot. There we go. So you're going back to the other side now. There we go. And then tie a bow. And just make sure that it's pulled tight. And then I'm just going to cut the ends across so that they stay tidy. So 45-degree angle from the bottom edge. There we go. So now you've got Pendibule, and you can see the difference in size. Now you can put those in a drawer or hang them from hangers in your wardrobe, and you've got lovely scented sachets. And they do make lovely gifts too. So just make sure that when you tie them that the bow is tight. There we go. So look forward to seeing the ones that you make, and now I can show you how to make them with 2 colours.